God, no, I'm sitting on the creaky floorboard. Hello, my beautiful friends, and welcome back. I don't know why, but this just feels like the coziest little setup, but it could also be because I'm wearing my pyjamas and dressing gown. I got a new jammies and dressing gown the other day, and I'm refusing to take them off. This is just my favourite time of year for being so cozy, and it has been so bloody cold the last few days, so my excuse is valid. So your internet sister is back today with another sex talk. Every single time I put up a question box for one of these videos, I have some man sliding into the DMs or the question boxes with like little sarcastic comments, basically being so pissed off that I talk about sex so freely on the internet. And it's like, darling, it's because of men like you why I do this. And why I will continue to do this, because it's so important for us women that we become more comfortable with these subjects and we become more comfortable in ourselves, and that is something that was repressed in us for such a long time. But yeah, before we dive right on into the questions today, I would just like to thank Beducated for sponsoring today's video. As you guys know, Beducated is my all-time favourite online course platform for all things sexual wellness. They have a bunch of video, audio and written guides over there with information and techniques to level up your love life. The Beducated subscription offers you access to all their courses, a sex positive community and a constant growing library, which is incredible. And you can actually get one whole day free with Beducated using my link down below, and then you can use the code Jessie to get 70% off the yearly pass, which is such an incredible discount. And I honestly see Beducated as investment in yourself. I have learned so much over on Beducated, and the information that they have over there is just not anywhere else online, and it really is the sex education that we should all have gotten and we should all give ourselves now while we have the access to. They actually released a new course recently called Roadmap to Intimacy, and I have found it so interesting. The course combines concepts from psychotherapy and sex therapy to address common relationship issues, and they touch on the 4 different types of intimacy, which are emotional, physical, sensual and sexual. I found the emotional intimacy section so goddamn eye-opening. Like, they touch on some things that I'd never heard of. For example, external and internal processors. Humans basically have one of 2 ways of processing things, internally or externally, and in relationships there does often be an internal and an external processor. So the internal processor will process everything in their head and then they just vocalize their final answer, whereas an external processor needs to kind of vocalize working through their answer, and then they will arrive at said destination once they have spoken through, you know, all their concepts or whatever. I'd say I'm probably more of an external processor, but I'm still trying to figure it out because it's such a new concept I'd never heard of. At the end of some of the modules, they actually have little exercises you can do either alone or with a partner, so you can practice the skills, and it's so incredible. It's like a little form of therapy in itself. But yeah, you should definitely go and try the 1 day free on Beducated. What have you got to lose? It's free. And yeah, I'll leave the link down below, but it's incredible. I love that online platform. There's still so many courses I've yet to do, and yeah, I just get so excited when I go on there. I'm like, what am I going to learn today? Because I'm always going to learn something. Let's dive right on in, shall we? My fringe is driving me up the wall. I need to get it cut so badly. Whatever it is with fringes, like one day it's at the perfect length and then you wake up the next morning and it's like it's grown an inch in your sleep. It drives me mad. Okay, sometimes my body just isn't in the mood to orgasm, even with toys. What else is there intimate to do with partner? I feel like this is totally normal for us women, like, because I am the exact same as you. I have to be in a certain mood and a certain mindset to reach orgasm, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I don't want to connect with my partner, I don't want to be intimate. Like, sometimes I just want to be intimate and connect and I don't really care about the orgasm. So I feel like the most important thing here is to take the pressure off yourself. If you don't feel like orgasming, you don't need to orgasm. Like, who is putting that pressure on you? And I also feel like it's a good conversation to have with your partner. Like, explain this to him. Just be like, sometimes I just want to have sex, but like I am not in the mood to orgasm, or like I physically cannot reach orgasm, because there are times where I could literally lie there for 2 hours. No, and I'll be fully enjoying myself as well, but for whatever reason I just can't get there. Like, I have to be totally relaxed and really aroused, so to get them to at the same time. Like, you have to have a lot of things working on your side. I feel like the most important thing with this is to remind yourself that, like, sex is always going to look different. Like, every time you have sex, it's going to be slightly different and it's going to vary in different ways. And if you aren't in that mindset or that mood and you're not able to reach orgasm, I personally get a lot of enjoyment from my partner reaching orgasm. So also what you could do is, once your partner has, like, cuddle up, caress them, kiss, you know, you can just be very close to each other and be intimate without having to be intimate, or you don't need to reach orgasm for you guys to be intimate. You can connect on a deeper level without any of that. Like, some of my favorite times are the moments right after sex, because you are just in like this little bubble and there's so much love and you just feel so warm inside, and I love that time so much. So just kind of fall into that moment, like, after your partner has reached orgasm, and yeah, but totally just take the pressure off yourself, because I feel like us women now, especially in the last few years since the orgasm gap has been closing, and we've been kind of being a lot more vocal about our orgasms, and it's expected now, as it should have always been, for us to also reach orgasm. But sometimes I feel like that can also come with pressure, because if you've been very vocal about this to your partner, etc., and then you know, you kind of feel like you have a point to make. Like, I got an orgasm too, but you don't. Like, once you are satisfied with your sex life, how often or how little you're orgasming is irrelevant, and whatever you're happy and you're comfortable with, my darling. Why can I not seem to get into cowgirl? So sorry, it's a bit much. Nothing is too much on this channel, nothing is TMI. The reason I do these videos, if I can help make one person feel more comfortable, or I can just help someone in any way, then my mission is done. So don't ever feel like any question you ever ask me is TMI. Yeah, okay, so first of all, like, we're all built differently inside, you know. So as I've talked about before, like, I find doggy very painful, and it's obviously got something to do with the way my womb, my uterus are tilted or are shaped inside my body, and then the angle that it's coming at. So there is a possibility that for whatever reason this position is just not for you. Like, I feel like we all have at least one position that's just not very comfortable and can cause a little bit of pain. So it could be that. But another little tip, I suppose, is, like, I find with cowgirl, the best variation of it, I suppose, is lowering your chest. So basically as if your chest is touching theirs almost. And for support, you can wrap your arms around the back of their neck. I find this way, like, really comfortable, and the depth of it is amazing. But again, it mightn't just be a position for you, but that would be my best advice. And then either with your knees, like, try spreading your knees more or else closing them in more. For me, I need quite a bit of room on either side, so I can spread my knees out as far as I like, because if my knees are too close together, it's not comfortable for me. So it's kind of about playing around with little things like that, even getting him to lift up his legs, so you can even lean back on his legs a bit. But I personally prefer sitting forward, so you're basically lying on them, if you kind of get me. But yeah, lowering your chest, arms around the back, try that and let me know how you get on. Is it wrong for me to just want to have casual sex? I know I want a boyfriend but also have needs. This is something that really bothers me, is like women feeling shame around wanting casual sex, but you would never ever hear of a man asking a question like that. It's unheard of. That kind of question wouldn't even come into a man's mind, and it shows just how uneven it is when it comes to men and women. And we have women saying, is it wrong for me to just want to have casual sex? No, like you just said, you also have needs. Exactly, you have needs, and whatever your needs are, they deserve to be met. Once you are not harming yourself or another person, it is not wrong. It is goddamn right to do what is right for you and what you need. You know, I feel like casual sex can be really important, because even if it's just one person, just say you're sleeping with casually, like I have had casual relationships before, and I learned a lot, you know, and I feel like they were very important for me. And I feel like if I didn't have them relationships, I wouldn't have learned the things I learned about myself, because I wouldn't have been in a position to learn them things about myself. For example, that I really don't like casual sex, and that's something that I've learned. But maybe it is so for you. And then, like, you know, you've heard of people who do kind of have casual sex and they realise that they're polyamorous, they're not even monogamous. So if you're not harming anybody, it is actually a benefit, I feel, to do something that you're thinking of, because you're going to learn about yourself, and either way it's going to be a positive thing, because you're going to come out with information that you went in not knowing. You say you want a boyfriend, but relationships don't come around every day. Like, we all have things we want and don't want in relationships, and you kind of have to wait for you to meet that person, you know. And sometimes people who meet them people by having casual sex, or even just dating people. Like, you know, you can go on dates, you could, you know, even have somebody you're sleeping with, and they could blossom into something a lot more. So yeah, never question yourself. Is it wrong? If you're not bringing harm upon anyone else, it is never wrong. I feel like recognising that this is shame that society has pushed upon us women regarding sex is a good place to start, and kind of taking your power back from there, because you don't have to answer to anyone, and you definitely don't have to answer to these goddamn men, like the men who are sliding into my DMs. You know, they're not the people you want to be with anyway. So anyone who's going to judge you for your sexual choices when you're being safe, should I say any more? He can never find my clit and I always want to tell him, but it ruins the mood. How should I? So first of all, I always hear this sentence, it ruins the mood. There is a way you can say everything and anything that won't ruin the mood. It's the way you say things. And that is in regards to absolutely anything in life. It is how you say something. It's like, you know, you can say something that comes across so nasty and judgmental to someone, and you can say the same thing and it comes across as just concern or that you care, you know? So your tone and how you say it is so important. And I think this is so doable now to not ruin the mood, okay? The way that I think I would do this is I'd lie there and I'd take a bit of control and assertiveness into it. Assertiveness is also very attractive in the bedroom. So you could be lying there and be like, I want you to sit back and I want you to watch me pleasure myself. And then you do your thing, and maybe halfway through you go, now I want you to try. So kind of, you can make it very sexy, you know? You don't have to do it in a way of, okay, sit back, I'm going to spread my legs, I'm going to point it to you, and then can we try this again? Because yeah, that will ruin the mood, because he's going to feel so inferior and he's going to be like, oh my god. But if you do it in the other way, I don't think he'll even realise what's happening, because he's just going to be so into it. Any ideas after many years of a relationship? I feel like the first important thing to know, obviously, is in long-term relationships, there are going to be ebbs and flows. There are going to be times where sex maybe gets a bit boring, or you're not having sex at all, or it's a bit repetitive, or, you know, whatever might be going on. And I feel like if there's a period where you aren't having that much sex, I don't feel like you should put pressure on it, like, necessarily, because this is going to happen in a long-term relationship. Kind of back to like my girl talk video that, oh my god, these hairs are driving me mad, my girl talk video that I did a couple videos back, and I spoke about how, do you know, when you're in a relationship and regards mental health, like, there's so many things that a couple has to deal with where your mental health is going to fluctuate, even for people that don't suffer with mental health issues. So I feel like it's the exact same thing with sex. Like, you know, I feel like it's something that you've got to kind of accept in a long-term relationship. For example, if someone loses their job, like, sex is probably going to be non-existent, because somebody could fall into a deep depression. If somebody dies, like, and someone's grieving, same thing, like, sex is probably going to be pretty non-existent for a while, and that's okay. And I also feel like it shows a lot of strength in a couple, like, to be able to get through them hard times and still come out the other side, you know? Like, everything is not about sex. Like, obviously it's such an incredible way to connect with your partner on a deeper level, in which you can't really do in many other ways, but it's not the be all and end all. But with the long-term relationships, like, I feel like getting away is so important for people in long-term relationships, because I don't know what it is, but like, when you go away, whether that be to a hotel or a little Airbnb, and you just are in a new environment and it's fresh and you have your own privacy and all, I feel like sex is always just very different, and even in them scenarios, like, it's when you can maybe introduce a bit of role play or some new toys, or maybe something you haven't ever even done before, like just say even role play, for example. Like, that is something that a lot of couples will get into a little down the line, and it can be very fun because you can kind of take on different characters. And now you don't have to go fully into it, but slightly, you know, even if you're new to it. Something that I think is actually a great idea for people in long-term relationships is, like, on the likes of Love Honey and them kind of websites, you're able to get like packs of cards, okay? And so they could be all different kind of ones, but there's one pack that I'm thinking of in particular, and it's 2 bunches in the pack, so it's romantic and sexual, something along them lines, and each week you both pick a card and you don't know what it is, and basically you have to do that thing without your partner knowing. So it's basically giving you little ideas constantly, and I feel like little things like that are a great way to spice things up and keep things exciting, because there's going to be a lot of things in there that you're not going to think of, or even in itself, you being given a little task and having to keep it private from your partner until you accomplish it is exciting in itself, and it can just create a new line of intimacy. I feel bad not wanting to go down on my boyfriend. I have really bad jaw and it would lock. I wouldn't feel bad about this. Like, you have very good reason. If something is causing you pain or is uncomfortable, like, no. Like, no, you can't do that. Like, you know, you can't sacrifice your own discomfort for something else, especially like that sounds awful, but there are definitely ways around it. I'm sure your partner hasn't made you feel bad about this. I'm sure this is something that you're kind of internalizing in yourself, which I totally get. But you know, you can give them a hand job and you can just focus on the tip, because then your jaw's not going to lock if you're just focusing on the head of it, because it's normally only when you're going up and down and your jaw's kind of staying in the one place for ages. But if you're just focusing on the head and you're more so, oh my god, did you see? I was like, you're more so just using your tongue and your lips, your jaw won't lock then. So yeah, I wouldn't worry about this. There's definitely so many ways around it, and like, oral is not the be all and end all, you know, and you can have a little bit of oral without going full oral. But I'd also talk to your partner about it. Like, just say it to him, because I feel like he will give you reassurance on that. Like, if you just say, I have been in my head a lot lately about the fact that I can't give you oral and I feel really bad about it. How do you feel about it? And I'd say you'll be very surprised at his answer. And I'd say after you say that to him, you're going to be like, oh, he's the best. Do you usually have sex/date people with similar body counts to you? I thought this question was very strange, because I was like, do people actually do that? Like, would people only date or sleep with people who have similar body counts? Because I just think that is so irrelevant. Like, what somebody got up to prior to you is really none of your business. The only thing that is your business is that they're safe and that they're clean, that they don't have any STIs. That was my only priority ever. You know, I never cared about how many people they did or didn't sleep with. It was just that, are you safe? You better be goddamn safe. I feel like that should be the only thing that people worry about. I feel like STI conversation so important. I feel like we should talk about it in more detail one day. Going through a breakup and really nervous to have sex with someone else after 4 years. Advice. You say you're going through a breakup and you're really nervous. It sounds pretty fresh, and I would try and just maybe put that idea to the back of your head at the minute, because if you're going through a breakup and you thinking about that makes you nervous, like, you don't need to worry about that. Yeah, you're in a relationship for 4 years. The grieving process of that is going to be difficult. Even if you were checked out of the relationship prior, it's still going to take some time for you to feel comfortable being alone again, because it's a long time to be with somebody. So I'd say kind of just like park it for the minute. Like, there's no rush for you to go and have sex with someone else. Like, you could even take like a 6-month break and just be like, I'm not going to bother with anyone. I'm just going to focus on me and get myself into a better headspace and kind of learn about my own body and what I actually like and want, and be educated is a great little investment for yourself, and you know, you can kind of use that time to focus on yourself instead of trying to focus on someone else when you're not really in the headspace to do so yet. But I feel like when you are in the headspace to kind of sleep with someone again after 4 years, I feel like you are going to be a little bit nervous anyway, even after the initial breakup grieving process passes, because you've only been with one person for 4 years, so it's a new experience. But I try and maybe flip it on the other hand, and in your mind, because you're obviously kind of looking at it from one side of it, I'd kind of try and flip your mindset to being a bit more optimistic and seeing it as a bit more of an exciting adventure that you now get to go on. Like, I have been, you know, with the same person for 4 years, and unfortunately that has now ended, but now I get to have new experiences that I've never had before, and you know, I might have some of the best sexual experiences I've ever had, and I'm not gonna know that though until I try it, you know. So when you do feel ready, I'd kind of just throw yourself into it, but also only with someone you feel comfortable with. So, you know, people kind of have two ways of sleeping with someone the first time after a breakup. One, like, people might be more comfortable just going and sleeping with anyone, like having a one night stand just to get it out of their system. And then on the other hand, other people might need a bit more of a connection before sleeping with somebody. So you might need to go on a couple of dates with somebody and build up a bit of momentum, build up a bit of sexual tension. If I were you, I'd honestly just listen to my body. Like, I just take it easy, and like, your body is going to tell you when it's ready, and your head is going to tell you when you're ready, and you will know when you're ready, you know. And if you don't feel ready, don't do it. Like, just don't do it, because it can also have the opposite effect. If you sleep with someone too soon after a breakup, or you sleep with somebody that you kind of don't really want to be sleeping with after a breakup, you can kind of then go backwards in your healing journey, because that's happened to me before. Like, it was after my first relationship, and I did sleep with someone pretty soon after, and I regretted it. Oh my god, did I regret it? Did I regret it while it was happening? Like, honestly. But it was my first ever relationship. Like, I didn't know how to handle, you know, the aftermath of it. And it's safe to say that I didn't sleep with someone for a long time after that again, because it kind of traumatized me a little bit. I was just like, what am I doing to myself? Like, I'm not ready for this. I don't want this. So kind of pushing yourself into something you're not ready for is going to do you more harm than good. I am just after realising how dark it's after getting in like the last 10 minutes. Oh my god, I can't deal with how early it gets dark now. But we're going to wrap it up here for today, my darlings. I really hope you enjoyed. If you have any more questions for our next episode, definitely do either leave them below, or you can send me a little message over on Instagram. I absolutely adore this series that I do on my channel, and no amount of comments from any goddamn men is going to stop me. So yeah, I love you guys so very much, and I cannot wait to see you all in my next video. Bye bye, friends.